Hello everyone, welcome to Diction Addiction weekend program. This week we will discuss about Russia and Ukraine war based on Hindu editorial published on 25th February 2022. Everybody knows that what's happening between in Russia and Ukraine. What's the reason for that? What are the Russia's issues to initiate the war on Ukraine. In this video, first we will read the editorial, then we will go for tough words explanation, then summary. I am starting reading. Russia's unjustifiable incursion into Ukraine following weeks of military troop build-up on their shared border has drastically raised tensions in the region, with the border ripple effects across the world, particularly for NATO countries and other with strategic connections to the two nations. Reports said that several Ukrainian cities, including capital Kyiv, came under attack on Thursday morning, even as the UN Security Council held an emergency meeting to stop the invasion. US President Joe Biden and the NATO and European Commission leadership vowed to impose severe sanctions on Russia. This round of sanctions will overlay prior economic penalties imposed on Russian entities and individuals close to the political leadership, and they are expected to include cutting off top Russian banks from the financial systems, halting technologies exports, and directly targeting the Russian president. Moscow can hardly be surprised at this backlash, for it has shown little sympathy toward the idea of engaging diplomatically on the Ukraine question to address Russian security concerns. Ever since Russia began amassing troops on the Ukraine border, the US, the NATO, and Europe have sought to press for diplomatic solutions. This includes direct US Russia negotiations and French President Macron's meeting with Mr. Putin. While the sense of frustration in Western capitals over Mr. Putin's intractability and aggression are palpable, and the use of severe sanctions stemming from that is a strategic in, inevitability. It is unlikely that the prospect of escalating violence and a devastating toll on human life and property in Ukraine can be ruled out until Mr. Putin border questions on NATO are answered. At the heart of his fears is the prospect of Ukraine joining NATO and NATO troops potentially stationed at the border with Russia. NATO's historical record of its penchant for expansionism has likely fueled such insecurities. After the dissolution of former Soviet Union, the Eastern European Military Alliance, NATO, and Russia in 1997 signed the Founding Act on Mutual Relations, Cooperation, and Security. Disregarding the spirit of this agreement, NATO quietly underwent five rounds of enlargement during the 1990s, pulling former Soviet Union countries into its orbit. Cooperative exchanges, communications hotlines, and Cold War fail-safes such as arms control verification have fallen by the wayside. Even more, since Russia annexation of Crimea in 2014, it may be the case of owing to Mr. Putin failure to develop Russia into economic powerhouse that naturally attracted neighboring countries and international capital to itself partly explains Moscow's deflection of attention to strategic questions relating to NATO and Russia territorial integrity. But unless Western nations give assurance to Mr. Putin that NATO will not seek to relentlessly expand its footprint eastwards, Moscow will have little incentive to return to the negotiation table. But Russia and Mr. Putin must realize that war is not the means to peace and security. Yeah, this is all about reading. Now we will move to the next section, that is uh, now I will explain about few important words in this editorial so that you will understand the actual meaning of or meaning or theme of the article. The very first word is unjustifiable, means no justification, no proper justification for the action of Russia. Incursion means invasion, means entering into the territory of other country illegally. A ripple means this is what is the ripple means effect in the other part of geography. Strategic means plan. Owed means promised. Backlash means criticism. Amassing means going together or collecting the things or arranging. See here, frustration means trouble, giving trouble, getting trouble constantly. Intractability means not able to stop. Aggression means it's relevant to the violence. Palpable means able to perceive it. It's tangible one. Inevitability means certainly happens. Devastating means dangerous one. Toll means count of death because of accidents or natural calamity. Prospect, expected, predicted. Penchant means most likely they like it. Expansionism means trying to expand their territory by occupying the others. Dissolution means terminated, and disregarding, no respect to the uh, agreement. Enlargement, increasing the area size. Orbit, into their boundaries. Annexation means invasion or occupying. Owing means their responsibility. They have to take the responsibility of that. Deflection means going by side. Relentlessly means consistently, without tired. So these are the words. I feel that these are very, very important words to understand the theme, hence I have presented. Now we will move into the third session called as summary. Everybody knows that what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. And everybody might be wondering why Russia is worried about this small country that is Ukraine. If you look at the size of the, Russia and the Ukraine, I don't think so we can compare. There is no comparison at all. But still, Russia is more worried because the Ukraine may be going to join in the NATO. So around 30 countries which are part of it, and they are especially European countries and America. So once the Ukraine joins in the NATO, then NATO troops will be stationed at the Ukraine and Russia border. That's what Russia don't like it. This is the first reason we can tell. So Russia don't like that Ukraine to join in the NATO organization. That will become a security problem to the Russia. And second thing is that what their Russia point of view is that most of the people, if you look at the culture or language of Ukraine, they're very close to the Russia. So instead of being becoming close to the Russia, they are moving away from the Russia, and they're becoming a place to for Russia, place to use by the its enemies, such as cold enemies like European countries and the US. So because of that reason, maybe because of these two reasons, maybe there are a number of reasons, but I feel that the main reason for Ukraine war against Ukraine is that Ukraine is willing to join in the NATO. So once that's a reason why Russia might have started, one-side war, but late one-side war. But this article says that Russia is not self-sufficient to serve its purposes. But as of now, I see many newspaper that it's a very calculated risk taken by the Vladimir Putin. So he knows everything about what will happen if we go for all out for war. So it is indicating that he is prepared for that, and he's going to face that, and he will stop the most of the former Soviet Union countries to join the NATO, and that's where he can protect his country, and it gives the security to the country. But as of now, there is no call from the either side to stop the war. But if you see the incident of war, its heart is bleeding. Innocent people, and they're dying. They're losing their shelters. They're losing their loved ones. So, we are living in a country where we don't have any fear of war, but other part of the country is, you know, other part of the country, in other part of country where people are living by seconds or milliseconds. They don't know what will happen. So at the end, he say, war, it will not give any peace or security to anybody. War leads to another war, but that should be realized by the countries, and they should go, uh, you know, see that it will not lead to the one more world war. Instead, we hope that things will settle in a no time, and everybody would be going to calm and stop the war. Thank you all for watching. If at all you like it, just subscribe. And if you have any comment, please comment. Thank you all.